Hey guys, welcome back to the channel today. My name is Osereme, and if you're here for the first time, thank you so much for stopping by. Please hit on the subscribe button and turn on notification bell so you're notified when I post a new video. In this video today, I'm going to be making this cute pencil skirt with ruffles on the side. So if you're interested in seeing how I made it, let's go into the video. So guys, to make this skirt, I'll be making use of this beautiful African print fabric here. You'll be needing about 2 yards of it. Then I have my black lining here and the zipper. So this is basically all we need to make this skirt. These are the measurements you'll be needing for this tutorial. So guys, first thing I went ahead to do was to fold my fabric into 4 because I want to cut the front and the back pieces together. So as you can see, I folded my fabric into 4 and I went ahead to iron it out. So the next thing I'm doing is to just mark a straight line close to the border here so that I'll cut this area out because I don't need it. When you're folding your fabric into 4 guys, ensure that it has enough room for you to be able to measure your hip measurement and still have enough space for allowance. So the next thing I'm going ahead to do now is to mark the full length of my skirt. So the full length of my skirt actually is going to be 18 inches, right? So I'm marking it right now at 22 inches because I want to fold this skirt up in a way towards the lining. So you're going to understand what I mean very soon. So I'm cutting this out now. I'm marking this out, sorry, with 22 inches. So guys, from this middle part here, you can see that I'm cutting away from the fabric from the other fold by about 1.5 inch. As you can see here, this about 1.5 inch I'm leaving on this side here. This part I'm cutting right now is going to be the zipper allowance for the back. Just like I said earlier, when you take measurement from this point here, which is the center front, down to this side, you should make sure that it's enough to go around your hip and you still have enough for stitching allowance. So when I took these measurements, it was just enough for me. So now I'm just going to make this part straight here because it's looking like I didn't mark it correctly. Make it straight, and now we're going to start taking our measurements on this. So guys, this skirt is going to have about 1.5 inch band at the top. So as you can see, I extended my tape a little bit by 1.5 inch, and then I marked my hip line, which is 8 inches. After marking that, the next thing I'm going to do is on this waistline here. So guys, from the center front, as you see where I placed my tape, I divided my waist measurement by 4 and I marked it here, and then I added 1 inch for my dart, and then I'm adding 2 inches extra for stitching allowance. So that's all for the waist. Now still taking the measurement from the center front of the skirt and not from the zipper allowance, I divided my hip measurement by 4 and marked it, and then I added 2 inches as well for stitching allowance. Now the next thing is to get the full length of my skirt. So still taking note of that 1.5 inches, I marked the 20 inches full length that I want my skirt to be, as you see me doing like this. I'm going to fold it up from that 20 inches mark I made because this excess fabric is going to be part of the lining. You guys are going to see how I'm going to be doing that very soon. So I just folded it up like this, and now what I'm going to do is connect these lines. So my waistline, I'm going to connect it to my hip line, just like you see me doing like this. And when you're through with that, the next thing we're going to do is whatever measurement you have on your hip line, let's take the measurement on our hip line. So we have 11. So I'm going to remove 1 inch from that 11 on this end of the skirt. So I'm going to mark 10 inches here. And what I'm going to do is to connect this line to meet the end. So guys, now that we're done cutting the side, we are going to come to this waist area, and what I'm going to do from the center front, I'm going to come down by 1 inch, and I'm just going to connect that 1 inch to the side using a curve, just the same way you see me making a curve like this. And what we're going to do is to just cut this part away. And guys, you're only going to cut this away only on the front part, not on both the front and the back. So I hope you understand that. So now this is basically all for the cutting of this pencil skirt. Now what I'm going to do is to cut out my lining. Remember I told you that this fold is going to be part of the lining, right? So I just took a measurement from my waist down to this point here. It's 15 inches. So my lining is actually going to just end at 15 inches. So I went ahead to just cut out my lining behind the camera, and this is what I have. You can see that the length of the lining actually stopped just where that fold ended. So this is what I'm going to be using. You're going to be seeing how I will join these pieces together if you've never done lining like this before. So right now, this is our front part of the skirt, and then this is the lining piece, right? So I'm going to stitch it up here, and then I'll bring this down part of it, fold it up like I did while I was cutting, and then I'm going to stitch it down here. When I'm through with that, I will stitch it on the sides as well. But I'll be leaving a little bit of space so that I have a place where I can turn this to the right side. So I'm just going to do the same thing I'm doing here on these pieces, on the back pieces as well. So guys, this is what my pieces looked like after I was done stitching them together. You see this stitch I was talking about? This is how it looks. And I told you guys I was going to leave a space here so that I'll be able to turn it to the right side. So you can see I have a space like this in all the other pieces as well. So basically what I'm going to do now is to turn every one of these pieces to the right side. So guys, this space that I turn it through, you can see it here. So I'm just going to fold it in like this, and I'm going to head over to the sewing machine and make a top stitch to seal it up. I will do it for all the other pieces as well, and then I'll go ahead and iron this out. So this is what I had after I was done ironing and stitching down those edges. So guys, I went ahead to arrange everything properly in place, the waist area, and taking note of the zipper allowance at the back. So from the center front, again from the center front here, this point here, and not the zipper allowance, this point here, I measured 3.5 inches, which is half of my nipple to nipple measurement, because these pieces are folded into two. So my nipple to nipple measurement, which is also my bust span, is 7 inches. So half of that is 3.5 inches. So I just marked that on this front area here. So I'm going to go ahead and make my dart here, also make it on this other side, and then I'll make it on the two back pieces as well. So guys, I'm through fixing the dart. Now I'm going to just mark the space where I want my zipper to be. So I just extended my tape with 1.5 inches, just like I've been doing earlier, just to get the spot where I want my zipper to be. So from there, I'm just going to rearrange my front part of the skirt to get where our middle point will be, which is here. And then I just went ahead to make a mark all the way to where I want my slits to start from, which is here. So basically, this point here is where my zip will end, and this one is where slits will start. So slits will start from here and zip will end here. So now I'm just going to head over to the sewing machine and just stitch this straight white line down. After I was done stitching it down, I went ahead to iron my seam open. So you can see the ends here where I have my zipper allowance. So I'm just pinning that zipper area down, as you can see, and then underneath it we have the slits, which is actually very beautiful. You can see how cute it looks. So this is what my back pattern is looking like right now, and this right here is the front. Now it's time to work on the side ruffles. So for the side ruffles, I went ahead to cut out these pieces. As you can see, I've already folded up the sides. So I went ahead to fold it from here straight down here all the way to the end, and then folded it here again. So I have this long piece here. This other side is not folded, so I have two of it. So for those of you that would like to know this measurement, after folding one side of it, I have 6 inches here like this, and then this other length here, this longer part of it, this part here is the whole tape measurement. So this is my full tape measurement. So now on this side that I did not fold, I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and make 2 gather stitches. So I made the two top stitches, and it's really simple to make gathers. I'm just going to pull on the two top threads, which is what I'm bringing out right now. I've done so many gather tutorials on this channel, so I'm just going to go ahead and just pull on my two top threads to get my gathers. So when I was through with it, this is what I had. What I'm going to do now is to take the measurement I have on the side of my skirt. So from about half an inch away from the top, just like the way I'm doing it. So you can see I had 17 inches. So I'm just going to check the length I have for my ruffle. You can see it's almost 17 inches. So I'm just going to pull it a little bit more to get to that exact length. And this is what we have. So I'm just going to do the same thing for the other piece as well. So the two skirt ruffles are ready, right? So what we're going to do now is to bring back the front part of our skirt, which is this part here. And I'm going to mark away all the stitching allowance that I'm going to be having in front. So what I'm going to do is from the waistline, I'm going to divide my waist measurement and take away the stitching allowance from both the sides. So when we're through with that, what we're going to do is we're going to place our ruffle on this side here, and what we're going to do is to place it right sides facing each other. So you see how the right side of the ruffle is facing the right side of our actual fabric, right? So we're going to take half an inch away from the top, and I'm just going to pin this ruffle all around the lines I made across. So basically just pinning the ruffle on top of the stitching allowance I made. So I went ahead to repeat the same process for the other part as well, just the same way you see me doing like this. So when you're through with that, what we're going to do now after pinning it down is to head over and stitch it top here and top here on the sewing machine. So guys, after I was through with that, this is what I had. You can see how neat it looks. So this is the back. So when we flip it back, this is what we still have. We've not added our back parts to it. So now what I'm going to do is this part here, I'm just going to place the back part of it right sides facing each other as well. Ensure that the ruffles are inside, just the same way you see me doing like this. So just like I did before on the front part, I'm marking my 1.5 stitching allowance again on these back pieces, just to ensure that I know exactly where to stitch on, which is on top of here. So I'm going to do it for this other side as well, and I'm going to stitch it down on the sewing machine. Guys, after I was done stitching down the sides, this is what it looks like. Very neat. Now what I'm going to head over and do is to flip it over to the front so that you guys see our ruffles. So this is how our ruffles are looking right now. Very neat. So now basically we're almost done with this. Now what we're going to do is to fix the zipper at the back, and then I'm going to attach my band around the waist. So guys, I went ahead to cut out the band that I'm going to replace that 1.5 inch I've been leaving at the top of my waist while measuring my skirt. So as you can see, I also went ahead to iron my gum stay to the piece I'm going to be using. So what I'm going to do right now is to head over to the sewing machine and stitch this on top of the waist in this area, and then after that I'm going to add my zipper. So guys, this is what it looks like after I was done attaching my band. You can see how neat this is. Very beautiful. So what is left now is to attach our zipper to the back. So this is the zipper I'm going to be placing here. So I'm going to first place it along the iron pad here, and then on the other side as well. So that's basically going to be all for this skirt. And finally, while I was done, this is what we had. It's very pretty. I love how this came out very neat, and you can see how it looks really good on me. So thank you so much for watching this video today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.